We talked about, where is it? Culture shock. And in this lesson, if you remember, we talked about verb patterns. And of course, verb patterns, I think, are a very important, topic to learn. So you should review this lesson if you haven't, or if you were absent. And I would highly recommend that you do the homework, the workbook exercises to get used to the idea of verb patterns and how to use verb patterns. So very quickly, what we did was divide our verbs into 3 groups. So the first list, or the first group of verbs, these are always followed by verb plus ing. So for example, if you say love, you can say, I love watching football. I love playing tennis. I love driving fast. I love eating ice cream, and so on. So in this group, any verb that you use should be followed by verb plus ing. This was the idea. But with the second group, you need to use infinitive with the to after these verbs. And these include, for example, need, plan. So you have to use infinitive plus to with these verbs. And the last group is infinitive directly. So should go, can play, and so on. So we talked about this. And after that, we also did the listening. If you remember, in the listening, we talked about some cultural differences and some presents which you should never give. We also talked about flowers and the colors of different flowers, which maybe are not appropriate for certain occasions. So we talked about that. And after we finished talking about verb patterns, we talked about this topic, which is what's it like? What's it like? So here, the topic was about vocabulary. Excuse me. So the topic was about vocabulary, and we grouped our adjectives into 4 different groups. Some of the adjectives are about towns and cities, people, food, and weather. And I think we talked about a few new adjectives. Let me just quickly show them to you. What did we have? Bland, I think bland was new. We talked about it for the first time. We also talked about reserved, touristy, cosmopolitan, and polluted. Who can explain some of these words, or remind me, what do these words mean? When we say, for example, London is a very cosmopolitan city, what do we mean by cosmopolitan here? Is there a specific meaning for the word? Who can remember it? What do you think, Rashid? When we say, for example, London is a cosmopolitan city, what do we mean?
I think place have a lot of shops and markets, and people there is not from the from the city, from a different country.
That's actually right. That's actually right. Yes, this is the meaning. This is the exact meaning of cosmopolitan. People from different backgrounds. An active city or an active country with lots of shops, markets, and people from different cultures and countries. That's correct. What about the word reserved, Selma? Can you remember? Can you explain it to us? What it means when we say, for example, Ahmed is a very reserved boy, or when we say, for example, the Japanese are a reserved people. What do we mean when we say that? Can you tell us, Selma? What do you think? And is it the opposite of one of the other words we have in the box? What do you think? Reserved. What do you think, Sophia, about the word reserved? Can you remember it when we discussed it in our last lesson? And can we use reserved to talk about a city, or do you think we can only use it to talk about people? Who can remind me? Reserved.
Reserved for people. Opposite of sociable.
That's actually correct. That's actually right, yeah. So when we say reserved, usually we mean somebody who's not very, maybe not very sociable, and someone who doesn't show a lot of emotion. So this is the idea. This is the meaning of reserved. And the last one is bland. Do you remember this word, Samiha? Bland. What does it mean when we say, for example, the food here is very bland? What does it mean, bland? Can you remember? What about you, Salma? Maybe, bland.
Maybe not nice, maybe not delicious, something like that.
Close, that's right. Rashid, what do you think when we say bland food?
I think the food needs more salad.
More salad?
Salt.
Salt. Correct, but not only salt. More salt, more spices, more flavor, everything, not only salt. But yeah, you're right. And also Selma is right. Bland, it means not very good. It's not bad, but it's not very good. This is the idea. It's not delicious because it's missing flavor. So this is the meaning of bland. All right, so we finished this in our last lesson. Now I'm going to let you read a few questions here in number 3. All right. So all of these questions are about Ireland. I want to see how much you know about Ireland, okay? So we just want to guess. In this first question here, number 3A, I only want you to guess, okay? And after that, we can check the listening. So what's the capital city of Ireland? Maybe Samiha, you know what's the capital city of Ireland? Do you know what
Dublin.
it is? Sorry, what is it?
Dublin.
Dublin. Okay.
Yes.
And what do people speak in Ireland? What languages do people speak?
Irish language.
Irish. You're actually right. They speak Irish, but is there another language?
Maybe they speak English.
Correct. Actually, that's right. They speak English, and they also have another local language, Irish. They call it, I think, Gaelic. It has another name, but it's Irish.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like a tradition. Like here in Libya, we have Arabic, and some people speak Amazigh, right? So in Ireland, it's kind of the same. Most people speak English, but they also have another local language that people in Britain don't speak, only in Ireland. So both. Okay, now number 3, it says, what type of live music do you often hear in pubs? Okay, this is a bit hard to guess.
Ireland music, I think.
The Irish music? Traditional music, maybe?
Yes.
I think.
Yes, I think.
Me too. I think this is the logical answer, yeah. Maybe they play their traditional
We have
music.
specific music for them.
Yeah, something that they like, they're used to, maybe. Okay, and what about Irish drinks? Which Irish drinks are famous?
Maybe red wine.
Maybe wine. It's a good guess. You're close. Okay, so maybe wine. What about Irish stew? Have you heard of this word, stew, before? Irish stew. Does anybody know what this word means, Irish stew?
I think it's type of kind of traditional food.
You're
in
right.
Ireland.
But what do you think it's made of, in your opinion?
I think it's something like soup or what? to, don't know.
Okay, maybe
Something
something
with meat, I think, and some vegetables,
Mm,
something like that.
okay. And have you heard of St. Patrick's Day? Maybe you've heard of this. Have you heard of this day, St. Patrick's Day?
For me, no.
No. So, but can you guess? What do you think people do on this day? What do you think Irish people do on this day?
Maybe they
Maybe
make a party.
Maybe they have a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, maybe. What do you think, Samir?
I think something like this festival or something like that.
So you think some kind of celebration?
Yes.
Okay, I think all of your answers are very close. Now we're going to listen and we're going to find out all about Ireland, Irish culture, Irish food and all of this. We're going to learn a little bit about it. So here, I want you to take a look at Liam. Can you see Liam here on the right side? So Liam, he's from Ireland and he's showing Natalia about his country. So he's telling her about, the food, the drink, and their culture and festivals and everything. So this is Liam. And I also want you to look at this photo. Can you see this photo on the left side here? Can you see this? This is a photo from St. Patrick's Day. So you can see it's like some kind of festival, right? But what are the people wearing? Can you see what they're wearing? They're all wearing green, right?
Green, yes.
Yes.
Maybe something related to.
Maybe it's related. Maybe it's related to the previous Libyan government, right? Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So they're all wearing green. Okay. So now let's listen. Let's find out what's it about. Let's learn a little bit about Ireland. So let me take you to the recording. We're going to listen to track 52, CD2, track 52, CD2, track 52, CD2, track 52. All right, where is it? CD2, where does this go? Ah, here it is. Okay. Okay, so let's listen and let's find out.
Track 52.
Hi, Natalia. Are you enjoying the party?
Oh, hi, Liam. Yes, it's great, thanks. You weren't in the office last week, were you?
No. I went back to Dublin to visit my parents for a few days.
Really? I've always wanted to go to Ireland. What's Dublin like?
Well, it's the capital city, of course, but it's changed a lot since I was a child. Now it's very cosmopolitan, and parts of it are very modern.
Right.
The city centre is very touristy too, but Dublin is still a great place to visit.
I don't know much about Ireland, actually. What are the people like?
Well, they're very welcoming, and they really like tourists. I think you'd find them very helpful and relaxed.
Does everyone speak English?
Yes, but sometimes the accent is a bit hard to understand, even for me. A lot of people speak Irish Gaelic too.
Okay.
And Dubliners are very sociable. They love getting together in the evenings and having a drink and listening to people playing Irish folk music. And of course, Dublin has some of the best pubs in the world. Do you know Guinness, our famous black beer?
Yes, I've had Guinness here in England.
Ah, but English Guinness is not like Irish Guinness. And of course, Irish whiskey is very famous too.
And what's the food like?
Well, you get the same food as you do in the UK most of the time, but we also have some very tasty Irish dishes. Do you know Irish stew?
No, what's that?
It's made of lamb, potatoes, carrots and onions, all cooked together. You often get it in the pubs at lunchtimes. It's really delicious, and it's quite healthy too.
Sounds good. And what's the weather like?
Well, it's often wet and windy. Ireland is famous for its rain, and in winter it's freezing, of course. But on a sunny day, there's no better place in the world.
So when is the best time to visit?
Well, the weather in July and August is usually quite good. But probably the best time to visit is around St. Patrick's Day, which is on March 17th.
Okay. What happens then?
In Dublin, there's St. Patrick's Festival, which is brilliant. Everyone in the city wears green, and it's basically one long party for 3 days and nights.
That sounds fun. I really must go.
You'll have a fantastic time, I promise. Hey, would you like to see some photos of Dublin?
Yes, that would be great.
I've got some on my mobile phone, I think.
Okay, so let's check our answers again. So what was the capital city of Ireland? Dublin, yeah, so the capital is Dublin. And what about the languages? He talked about the languages, right?
Yes, English. He speaks English.
Yes, English, but is there another language? Or
Irish
only?
language.
There's also Irish, right? They also speak Irish, another language, not only English. So they speak English and Irish. But what did he say about about how they speak English?
Accent.
Yeah,
Accent is very difficult to understand.
That's true. Sometimes the accent is a little hard to understand. Did you notice Liam's accent? He also had a bit of an accent. Did you notice him? Or not too much? No? Not a lot. Okay. And what about live music? What kind of live music do they have?
Irish folk music.
Yes, he said Irish folk music. So folk music is like traditional music. This is the meaning. يعني folk دي معناها جاية من folklore يعني شعبي حاجة شعبية. So when we say folk music معناها موسيقى تقليدية أو شعبية. All right. So folk.
L is silent.
L is silent, like talk. Talk and walk. Silent. Irish folk music. Yeah. Okay. What about the drinks? He talked about two famous drinks in Ireland. What are they?
Irish whiskey.
Whiskey and Guinness or something.
Correct.
Don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Guinness. Guinness is a beer. Do you know? Have you heard of the world records? Guinness World Records. Have you heard of it? Guinness World Records.
Yes.
Yeah. So Guinness World Records هي أصلا مبنية على شركة البيرة هي Guinness. It's an Irish beer. هي اللي أسست بتاع World Records. Okay, and they also talked about Irish whiskey. And what about Irish stew? What is this? I think what you said, Samiha, is close. You said something like soup, right? But what did Liam say about Irish stew?
It's made of lamb and
onion.
potato.
Yeah, and what else?
Potato, I think.
Correct. Lamb, onion, potato, and there's a last thing, right?
Carrot.
Yes. And it's cooked together.
It's like
Like what?
طبيخة.
بالضبط. هي هذه معنى اصلا ستيو. معنى ستيو اللي هو زي طبيخة يعني، حاجة طبيخ او شنو بالفصحى يقولوا شنو هي الكلمة؟
يخنة.
يخنة صح؟
يخنة.
يخنة. وفي حتى كلمة ثانية لا حساء ما زال أرق. لا حساء أرق اللي ما فيش اللحم أعتقد. الحساء خضروات في العادة بس، لكن اللي فيه اللحم هو اللي يقولوا له ستيو هذا أو اليخنة. يعني احنا نقولوا طبيخة يعني زي طبيخة بطاطا باللحم. Something like this. Okay. So this is Irish stew. Okay. What about St. Patrick's Day? When is St. Patrick's Day? He talked about the date. Can you remember?
March 7th.
March 7th. Okay, you're close. March 7th. What do you think?
17th.
17th?
Yeah.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah, March 17th is the correct answer. Okay. What about what do people do on March 17th? On St. Patrick's Day, what do they do?
Everyone wears green.
And what else? Correct. Everyone wears green. But what do they do? And stay at home?
No.
In a party.
Yeah, they go out, they celebrate, they have, you know. Yeah, exactly. So it's actually a national holiday in a way, because everybody celebrates. It's a bit like Eid here, and similar, you know, kind of similar. So they have 3 days, they have a party, they have fun, they wear green, everybody celebrates. But of course, it's the story behind it is more complicated. It's about a religious figure, Saint Patrick. So,
Patrick. Yes.
Patrick, yes. Saint, when we say saint, هم القديس يعني قديسين. Saint. بالإيطالي يقولوا سانتا. سانتا ماريا مثلا. So saint اللي يقصدوا به قديسين يعني في المسيحية. So this is where it comes from. But of course they celebrate, everybody has fun. It's not a religious holiday anymore, but this is how it started. It started as a religious holiday. So we can just say, what do people do? We can just say, wear green and celebrate. Wear green and celebrate or have fun. Okay. So this is the first part of the question. We answered all this information about Ireland. Now it says here, watch or listen again, look at table number 1. Tick the adjectives Liam used to describe Dublin, the people, the food, the weather. All right, so let's see if you can remember, because Liam, he used some of these adjectives in the box. So when he talked about Ireland, he used some of these words. Can you remember which of the words he used to talk about the things in Ireland, the food, the weather, the people? What can you remember?
Modern.
Okay, he mentioned modern. Touristy. He also said touristy. Correct.
About the weather, talk about the winter.
Yeah. What did he say about the winter? Freezing. Yes, he said that. What else about the weather? He said something else.
And windy.
And windy. And wet, right? He also said it's wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, windy, wet, and freezing in the winter, correct? So this is what he said about the weather. But what about the food? What did he say?
I think delicious.
Yes, he used delicious.
Healthy.
Healthy. He did. When he was talking about the stew, he said is quite healthy. He did say that. Okay. What about the city? He used some words to talk. Can you remember, Rashid and Safiya, some of the words Liam used to talk about the city? He said modern, but he also used other words, if you remember.
Cosmopolitan.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
I didn't understand the meaning.
You don't understand the meaning of cosmopolitan.
Yes. It was absent the last.
You were absent. Okay. So cosmopolitan is a city like, imagine London or Paris or New York. So you have people from all kinds of different backgrounds and different cultures who came from different countries, who have different food, different lifestyles, and they all live in the same city. So for example, if you go to the Chinese neighborhood, you can have Chinese food, and then maybe you can go to, there's a Jewish neighborhood where they have maybe Jewish clothes or Jewish food. And then there's maybe an Arab neighborhood, you can have falafel, tamia, you get the idea. So it means people from all over the world who live in this city. So you can see people from different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds. This is the meaning of cosmopolitan. And they all live in the city. So this is the meaning. Okay. So when Liam was talking about Dublin, he said it changed a lot. It's now cosmopolitan because it was traditional. It's not like the other big cities, like, for example, London or New York or Paris. I think these cities had immigrants and people from all over the world longer than Dublin. So Dublin is changing. This is what he said. What about the people? What about the Irish people? He talked about the Irish people. What did he say?
Welcoming.
Welcoming, yes. They're quite welcoming, he said. And he used another word. What else?
Relaxed.
I don't know if he used relaxed.
Yeah.
Did he use relaxed?
Yes, I think.
I think he said they like to relax in the pub, but I don't think he said they are relaxed.
Maybe.
But there's another adjective he used for the Irish people.
Helpful.
Sociable.
Sociable. He said they're very sociable. He said they're welcoming and sociable. I remember. This is what I remember. But we can check. We can listen again and check. Maybe he used other words. But before we listen again, I
think welcoming and sociable very close, can come together.
In a way, yes, you're right. Yeah, they're not too far away, and the meaning is close.
Someone is welcoming, he will be sociable, I think.
Yeah, because if you're not, they won't welcome you. Maybe they'll welcome you and stay shy in the corner without talking. It doesn't make sense. So you're right. I think they come together usually, these two characteristics. Okay, let's see if there's another part of the question that we need to check. All right, so this means let's listen one last time and let's confirm our answers. Let's find out which adjectives he used.
Track 52.
Hi, Natalia. Are you enjoying the party?
Oh, hi, Liam. Yes, it's great, thanks. You weren't in the office last week, were you?
No. I went back to Dublin to visit my parents for a few days.
Really? I've always wanted to go to Ireland. What's Dublin like?
Well, it's the capital city, of course, but it's changed a lot since I was a child. Now it's very cosmopolitan, and parts of it are very modern.
Right.
The city centre is very touristy too, but Dublin is still a great place to visit.
I don't know much about Ireland, actually. What are the people like?
Well, they're very welcoming, and they really like tourists. I think you'd find them very helpful and relaxed.
Does everyone speak English?
Yes, but sometimes the accent is a bit hard to understand, even for me. A lot of people speak Irish Gaelic too.
Okay.
And Dubliners are very sociable. They love getting together in the evenings and having a drink and listening to people playing Irish folk music. And of course, Dublin has some of the best pubs in the world. Do you know Guinness, our famous black beer?
Yes, I've had Guinness here in England.
Ah, but English Guinness is not like Irish Guinness. And of course, Irish whiskey is very famous too.
And what's the food like?
Well, you get the same food as you do in the UK most of the time, but we also have some very tasty Irish dishes. Do you know Irish stew?
No, what's that?
It's made of lamb, potatoes, carrots and onions, all cooked together. You often get it in the pubs at lunchtimes. It's really delicious, and it's quite healthy too.
Sounds good. And what's the weather like?
Well, it's often wet and windy. Ireland is famous for its rain, and in winter it's freezing, of course. But on a sunny day, there's no better place in the world.
So when is the best time to visit?
Well, the weather in July and August is usually quite good. But probably the best time to visit is around St. Patrick's Day, which is on March 17th.
Okay. What happens then?
In Dublin, there's St. Patrick's Festival, which is brilliant. Everyone in the city wears green, and it's basically one long party for 3 days and nights.
That sounds fun. I really must go.
You'll have a fantastic time, I promise. Hey, would you like to see some photos of Dublin?
Yes, that would be great.
I've got some on my mobile phone, I think.
Okay, so all of the answers are correct, but I think we forgot 2 adjectives we didn't write. So I think Selma was right. Yeah.
And helpful.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So helpful and also relaxed. You were right about relaxed. He said they're relaxed. All right. So now we know we have some information about Ireland and the Irish culture. I want you to take a look at here how to use questions with what like. Okay, so we have 2 questions here. I want you to match the 2 questions with the answers. So first question, it says, what's Dublin like? So what's the correct question here? What's the correct answer? Is it A or is it B? Should we say
B?
Okay, yeah. So this is the right answer. What's Dublin like? It's quite cosmopolitan and parts of it are very modern. And do you like Dublin?
Yes, I love it.
Yes, I love it. It's a yes/no question. Correct. So now what we want to do in part B, we want to use is or are to answer the 4 questions. So we have 4 different questions using what, and we want to answer them using is and are. So what about number 1? What's the right answer here?
Is, I think.
Correct. Yeah. What's the city like? What about number 2? What should we use here? Okay. Number 3?
I think is.
Yes. And the last one?
Is.
Correct. Yeah. So here, this is just, it's easy, but they want you to pay attention to questions with what. So in this question, it says, we don't use like in the questions to what like. So what are the people like? They're very welcoming. They're like very, okay. So ملخص النقطة الأخيرة هذه, this tip, they're trying to tell you that if you find a question with like, for example, what's the city like? So in this question, or what are the people like? This is not a present simple question with do. It's very different from what do people like. It's not the same. So here we're talking about their personality. Do you get the idea? So when you answer, you shouldn't say they're like. No, you just say you describe them. So so my question is in Arabic, what's the meaning of this question? What's the city like? What does it mean when we say, what's the city like? Or what are the people like? And I want you to tell me what's the difference between what are the people like and this question. What's the difference between these two questions? What are the people like and what do the people like? You can tell me what's the difference in meaning between these two questions. Or are they the same? What do you think, Samih? They're not the same?
What are the people like? He asked about the people. They are friendly, welcoming.
Describe them.
We're trying to describe the people themselves, right?
Yeah.
But what do the people like? What the people in Ireland like to do?
Yes, their hobbies, their activities, right? They like football, they like Irish stew, they like folk music, right? They like whiskey, whatever. So this is the activities or the things they like. Do you get the idea? So they're very different questions because here we have verb to be, are and is. But here this is present simple. WH question, present simple. So you need to be a little careful here. لكن غير كيس يعني سهل استخدامهم الأسئلة هذه اللي هي بلايك. يعني احنا بالليبي كنا نقولوا شن جوهم الناس، كيف شن جوهم، كيف ماكلتهم، شن جوها. You know, it's a bit like this. All right, so it's clear. Let's move on to exercise number 5. Let's take a look. So here in exercise number 5, it says listen and practice the intonation. I think we can skip this. All right, now number 6, it says choose a town or city you know well, but not the one you are in now. Write adjectives. Okay, this is also nice. I think we can do it maybe like a speaking exercise. So I want you to think of a city you know well. Okay, this could be any city in Libya or even abroad. Here it says choose a city, but not the one you are in now. I think if you want to talk about the city you are in now, it's okay, it's fine. All right. So here I want you to talk about the town itself or the city, the people, the food, the weather, the shops, nightlife. We don't really have a nightlife here, I think, but the cost of living and public transportation. Okay, so this means you can talk about a city you've visited or a city you've stayed in for a while, or even your own city. So tell us a little bit about any city you know well, Samiha. Can you think of any cities you know quite well? You could also talk about your own city or any other city.
I don't know other cities.
Okay, talk about your own city. Tell us a little more about it. And you can use to talk about it, you can use some of these adjectives in the box. Can you see them? For example, cosmopolitan, touristy, polluted, traditional, modern, if you want to talk about the city. So you can use some of the adjectives.
The past now or just now? Or this now?
Sorry?
You want to describe it in the past and what's changed or what?
If you want to compare the past to the present, that's fine. But even if you want to talk about it now, that's also fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The town is very quiet.
First of all, what town are you talking about? Which one?
Oh.
Okay. So it's very quiet.
Yes, it's very quiet, and the people are very welcoming, sociable. About the food is very delicious.
Is it spicy or is it bland?
No, not very spicy, but delicious.
Mm-hmm. Is there a traditional meal
Yeah.
that people like in Hoon?
Yes, of course.
What is it?
A lot of, but famous one is ftat, I think. Yes, ftat.
But what do you make it with? That with what? Is it with lamb?
What was that?
Or is it with
Yes.
with lamb? Or is it with camel meat?
I don't know. I think lamb.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The weather is not. Is can I say changeable?
You can. If it changes a lot, you can say the weather is
Yes.
changeable.
Yes, changeable a lot.
Mm.
But always windy, always dry. In the summer, very hot, and in the winter, it is dry and very cold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
The shops.
Are
There
they
is a lot of
big?
shops. Not very big. No malls. Just normal shops.
Mm.
With the nightlife, I don't know.
Mm.
The cost of living, I think it's good. It's not very expensive town.
Is it cheaper than Tripoli or more expensive?
I think it's slightly expensive, but
Is it
I think
more expensive
not,
than Tripoli?
Yes, of course.
But why is that?
I don't know the distance. I think
maybe
the price is very different.
Is it very different? Can you give us an example of something which is much more expensive in Hoon compared to Tripoli?
All of things, the foods, more expensive in Hoon, and clothes is very, very expensive than Tripoli. People travel to Tripoli to buy clothes. It's very expensive.
Okay. And is this normal for all other cities and towns which are far from the capital? Is it the same for example, other cities like maybe Sabha or Tamis or I don't know, other cities?
No idea. I'm not traveling there. I don't know. But I think the same. I think the same.
Okay.
They think about the distance, and I don't know what's very expensive. About the public transport.
Do you have any public transport? Buses, for example, or maybe
Yes. Yes, there's.
Okay, so it sounds like a nice town, not too noisy. What about, is it safe? Do you think is it safer than Tripoli, for example?
In the past was very safe, but now I'm not safe like before. But I think it's safer than Tripoli and big countries.
Other big cities.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's see someone else maybe talk about the... Noha, hi, how are you today?
Hi, how are you? Sorry for interruption. I'm coming late.
No, it's okay.
I don't know what the lesson today.
The lesson we're actually talking, we were talking about Ireland and talking a little bit about the Irish culture and, Irish food and all of that. And we used some of these adjectives to talk about Ireland. All right. So you can see here words like, for example, if you want to talk about food, you can use delicious, you can use spicy, you can use bland. So bland is, when food doesn't have a very good taste. doesn't have a lot of flavor. You can say it's bland, like hospital food, you know, very bland. And we talked about cities, so you can say cosmopolitan. So cosmopolitan, it means, you know, a multicultural city with lots of different cultures, lots of different people. We can talk about the people in a city. You can say maybe they're reserved, you know, a little shy, or maybe they are sociable. Depends. People are different in different places around the world. You can also talk about cities by saying polluted, touristy, if you have a lot of tourists. You can say the people are helpful, maybe. If the weather gets very cold, you can say freezing. If it changes a lot, changeable. You know, so these are just some different words, and you can use them to describe towns and cities, people, food, and weather. So in this exercise, the one that we're doing now, we just want to talk about our own cities. So here, all you need to do is tell us a little bit about your own city. Tell us about, you know, the city itself, the people, the food, the weather, the shops. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your city. You don't have to talk about only your city. You can talk about any city you know well. Do you get the idea? So it doesn't have to be the city you live in. So if you know any other cities in the world, maybe another city you visit a lot, or a place you know well, you can also talk about it. Choose any place you know well. So what would you like to talk about?
I will talk about my town, Tobruk. And talking about weather. I must choose the word from the box above.
You can, but if you have other words, you can use other words. But you're going to talk only about the weather? You can talk about other things too. So you have words for weather like freezing, changeable, wet, dry, hot, cold, windy, you know, lots of words. But you don't have to choose from the box.
Okay. Weather in my town, sunny, because and always hot because we are near to the beach. And our let's speak also about the people. We are small town, all people known to each other. So and what else I speak about? Food.
But the people, are they? Would you describe them as sociable, or do you think they're reserved, a little shy? How would you describe the people in your town in general?
Sociable. And all know each other.
Everybody
even
knows
friends
each other.
or relative. Yes. And friendly and
okay. And what about the food? Tell us a little bit about the food. What's the food like?
We are like raised rather than couscous and basil, like in Tripoli, I think.
The same? Couscous and basil also? Or not?
Yes, but better than like macaron. What's it? Macaron.
Pasta.
Pasta, yes, and rice, I think. Rice, yes. Better than couscous and basil, but the same. We'll eat couscous and basil.
So you're saying that people in Tobruk, they prefer pasta and rice more than couscous and interesting. Okay. Is there like a traditional maybe meal that maybe not couscous or basil, something else? Is there anything else traditional that people in Tobruk like?
What said asida we like, and also mafruda.
What's mafruda?
Is known for
What is it exactly?
This is food specific for traditional what I said, from flour and do in I don't know how to
is
say.
It is it bread or is it a dessert?
Yes, like bread. Yes. Bread and make milk. Some people bought milk and some bought honey. Make it very tasty with what some do it with the meat and some without, with the egg just.
But is it like ftat?
It's very tasty.
Is it like ftat or not like ftat?
What?
Is it like ftat or different from ftat?
No, different. No, different.
But it's a kind of bread, right? Or
yes, but it is sweetie.
What did you say, Samiha?
Maybe like a pie, I think.
Is it like a pie? Is it like a pie? No, like an apple pie?
No.
Not a pie. I can't imagine it. How do you cook it? Is it in a pot, like you cook like you bake a cake or a pizza in the same way?
No. It is. Sohaib described it.
Sohaib is not here. Where is Sohaib? He's absent today.
Listen to someone.
Like a bread.
Said, like bread, yes.
Like
some
a bread.
Do it in tannoor, some do it in tannoor, and some in directly.
In a brick oven.
Yes. Make it thin, then cut into small pieces. Then put milk. Some put milk and some put water and sugar to make it very sweety. Some do it with meat and some with egg. I'm preferred without egg and without meat, just honey or sugar.
So it's like فطيرة. زي الفطيرة يعني, right?
Yes, فطيرة.
Similar to فطيرة. But فطيرة is fried. Yes. Usually we use ghee, اللي هو السمن, ghee. I don't know if you know ghee. Salmon.
Yes, also used. Yes. I'm forget. Salmon must be.
So it's a type of فطيرة. Maybe you can say it's a type of فطيرة, right?
And must be milk with it.
There's also milk with it.
Yes.
I don't know if فطيرة has milk. The one they use here, I don't know. I just eat it, but I don't know what's in it.
I think how to drink with it.
You think both of them have
drink
milk?
Or drink milk.
Milk or drink with it.
Okay, I thought milk is one of the ingredients. I thought.
No.
I see.
Some put it in ingredient, but some must. I'm prepared to drink with it.
I see. Interesting, Mafruda. Okay, so I need to Google this and see it. Okay, so this sounds good. So the food sounds very good, and you talked about the weather. But what about the shops in Tobruk and shopping in general? Are the shops cheaper, more expensive, smaller, bigger, compared to Tripoli or Benghazi, for example?
We are near to the borderline, I think. Borderline mean?
Border, near the border.
Yes, near to the border. But everything is expensive. We prefer to travel to Benghazi to bring our clothes, and because it is cheaper than Tobruk. Everything is here expensive.
But do you know why? Do you know why everything is more expensive?
Recently, because people work in Nawab. What's this in English?
You mean the parliament? Parliament, قصدي.
Yes.
Parliament. The parliament. Members of the parliament.
So everything increased in our town.
So you think it increased because members of the parliament live in Tobruk now?
Toes. Yes.
Interesting.
We all the people now that changes in recent 5 or 6 years, everything became expensive because of this. Even the house and floor, everything is make expensive.
But how far away is Benghazi? Is it close or is it far away?
No, about 5 about what?
5 hours?
500, I think.
500?
About 5 hours. Yes, 500 kilo.
Wow, that's far away. So it's not close. It's far.
About 5 or 6 hours.
I thought they were close.
No, away.
It's far
But because
away.
I'm studying Benghazi, so make it near to me.
I see. Okay. And public transport? What about the public transport in Tobruk? Is it good? Do you have good public transport or not very good public transport?
Just taxi driver, just.
Only taxis, no buses?
Yeah. Rare.
Not
Recently
common.
became rare. Yes.
So this means the cost of living is high. It's higher than Benghazi or Tripoli.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, this is the story of Tobruk. Okay, it's good to know. At least the food sounds good. Now I'm curious. I want to know more about the food.
Must be now, Matruda. It's very tasty.
Yeah, I need to try it. I'll tell Sohaib to maybe invite me or something, or send instead of his next subscription, instead of sending money, I'll tell him to send food this time. Okay, so this is what they want us to do in exercise number 6. They just want you, to talk about your town, explain it, and give some information about it. So this is the idea here, number 6. Okay, so number 7, working groups. So with what it's like. Very good. I think this is similar. We don't need to do it again because they just want you to use the questions to talk about the town. What's Moscow like? It's a beautiful city. It's very cosmopolitan. What's Tobruk like? It's a small town. The people are friendly and sociable. So we can skip this. All right, so let's take a look here at linking sounds. Okay, so I'm just going to play this for you. And here I want you to pay attention to, we have some interesting sounds. These are extra linking sounds. So what happens is sometimes when you link two sounds together, for example, an O and an O, two similar sounds, or an E and an E, or for example, when you have a vowel after an R, there's a new sound that appears. So this is what we want to talk about. I want you to pay attention to how there's a new W sound that appears. And here there's a new Y sound. And here there's a clear R sound that comes out. So I just want you to listen to how these sounds come out. And these are a normal part of the English language. So let's listen to this.
1. W.
Go on. To Italy. You ever.
2. Y.
The end. My aunt. Stay in.
3. R.
For ages. For about. Over 80.
All right, so they just want you to notice these sounds. It's not a very big deal, but it's a normal part of the English language. This happens. Sometimes it sounds like there's an extra W, but there's no extra W. It just comes out in pronunciation. And the same thing here. It sounds like there's an extra Y. The end, the end, end. It's like a completely new letter here in the middle, but it's not there. It just comes out in pronunciation. The same thing here, my aunt, yaunt. It's like a Y. And here the same thing with the letter R, because normally the letter R is silent in British English. Not all of Britain, but some areas. So normally it should be, for example, for. So you should say for. But because you have a vowel after it, the R becomes clear. Forages, forages, forages. The R, it's like a part of the second word. This is the idea. So now I'm just going to play this conversation for you, this part, and I just want you to listen carefully to how these extra sounds come out. So of course the J, it's not a J, it's a ya sound. So whenever you see the J, this means there's an extra ya sound. And if you see the W, it's an extra w sound. And if you see the little R, it's an extra r sound. Okay, so these are extra linking sounds. So let me just play it for you so you can hear all of them and have a look here.
55.
What happens at the end of the film?
They all go on a trip to Italy.
Have you ever been to England?
Yes, my aunts lived there for ages.
Who's the oldest person in your family?
My uncle. He's over 80.
How long has she been at the agency?
For about 7 or 8 years.
Do you always go out on Sundays?
No, we often stay in and watch TV.
Okay, so it's just a little pronunciation tip that sometimes there are some extra sounds that come out that are not, these sounds are not part of the words themselves. These are extra linking sounds. So you don't have to think too much about it, but if whenever you're listening to British English, maybe you will hear these extra sounds. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. So here we're going to talk about problems. Problems. So this lesson is very, I think, familiar to us as Libyan people. This is, something we're used to. All right, so let's start here with everyday problems. So let's start a little bit with some vocab, a bit of vocabulary related to everyday problems. So what we're going to do in each section, we have 3 sections, and we just want to use the verbs we have in the box. So each one has 3 verbs, and we want to use these verbs to talk about the problems. So in the first problem, for example, oversleep on Monday morning. Of course, because Monday is the first day of the week in the UK. And so this is a problem, of course. If you oversleep, your boss will be very angry. All right, what about number 2? What's number 2? What's the right verb to use here? What do you think?
Get lost.
Get lost.
Get lost. Yeah, so this is a problem, of course, if you're going to another city and you get lost on the way. Okay, and the last one, it means leave. So maybe you leave your wallet at home and it has your cards and all your information, your license. Okay, number 4, what's the problem here?
Miss.
The plane or
Yes, miss. So maybe you're late and you miss your plane or you miss your train. So of course this is a problem. What else can happen? Other problems?
Lost your keys or mobile.
Correct. So maybe you lose your keys, you lose your mobile. So this is not very pleasant, of course. And this means the last thing is you run out of money or you run out of time. Another common problem. Okay, then we have our last 3 problems. So the first one, what's the first one?
Forget.
Yes. So you forget someone's birthday, maybe someone close. You have an accident. This is also a big problem.
Have an accident.
Or
Get stuck and stuck in
yes,
traffic.
or you get stuck in traffic. Exactly. So these are 9, I think, common everyday problems. I think most of us have faced some of these problems at one point in our lives, maybe more than once, I think, for some of these problems. So here I just want to see, yeah, because in the next question they want us to talk about, it says, tick the phrases that you often do or have done in the past. So let's talk a little bit about these problems. So who can tell us about some of the problems that they've maybe faced before in the past? Or maybe some of the problems that you think happen to you quite often? Let's start here with Samiha. Tell us a little bit about some of the problems you face. Maybe not every day, but you have any of these problems happened to you before?
Yes. The most one for me is forget someone's birthday.
So this is the most common one.
Yes, and also lose my mobile. That's the 2 things happened always with me.
Have you lost your mobile more than once?
Lost, you mean you didn't find it again?
It depends. Maybe you lose it and find it, but you can also lose it and never find it again.
Many times.
But you lose it and you find it after that.
Yes.
But how long does it take each time after you lose it to find it again? How long? Is it on the same day, or maybe you lose it for a whole day?
Yes. Yes, all day.
You
it
lose
happened
it
to me
for a whole day.
For 1 day.
For
all
one
day,
day.
Yes, from the morning till 2 a.m. I find it. It was silent and it is.
But where do you lose it?
What?
Where do you usually lose your phone?
Usually between the books, and it will be silent. I didn't find it.
Okay, so this is a bit of a problem. Okay. Any other problems that you faced before? Have you ever missed a plane? Has this happened before? Have you ever missed a plane?
No.
No.
The plane missed me.
The plane missed you.
But I get lost.
Okay, this happened before to you. You got lost. But what did you do? And where did you get lost?
In Turkey. We get lost. Yes. And one day we find for some place and we get in wrong way and we run off the time to find this, but we didn't find it. We lose this day.
But were you able to go back to your hotel at night? Or did you?
Yes, but it was very long travel. When we go, we don't know we are going for far distance. But when we return,
you found out that you traveled a very long distance.
Yes.
But was it fun or not fun?
At the first, we was very angry, but after that, we find it very funny.
Okay, so it changed. It changed from a tragedy to a comedy at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So these are some common problems. Let's see someone else. Maybe someone else had some of these problems. What about you, Rashid? Have you ever had any of these problems before in your life? Have any of these things happened to you before?
Yes.
Okay. Like which one? Which one has happened to you before? Which problem?
have an accident.
Did you have an accident? Was it a big
Yes.
accident?
What's mean accident? Like car accident or what?
Yes. هذا مثال. Yes. Car accident يعتبر مثال على accident.
يعني حاجة فيها كيف يعني؟
car accident صح. accident يقصد به حادث سيارة.
حادث سيارة بس.
yeah. أنت عندك حادث تاني غير سيارة.
Yes.
Were you hit by a train or a boat or a plane? Did you have a train accident?
No. Thief accident.
A thief. Did someone try to steal something from you?
Yes.
Or are you talking about someone who tried to steal your car, maybe?
No. I tried to steal my phone.
Okay, so we can call this mugging. So mugging, you can say I was mugged, or you can say someone tried to mug me. Someone tried to mug me. So mugging, it means someone tried to steal from you using force, maybe with a knife or with a gun. Is this what happened? Did they threaten you with a gun or a knife? Is this what happened?
No, they catch me.
And did they take your phone?
Yes.
But did they hurt you, or
I was
or just take the phone and run away?
They catch me and take my phone and they go.
But they didn't hit you or anything.
Yes.
Okay, this is a maybe you can say it's a bit of an accident, but the specific word is mugging. And how did you feel after that?
When they go, I didn't understand what happened because
it was very fast, or was it dark at night?
No, it was very fast, and the car.
And the car was also very fast?
ما نعرفش كيف نوصفها.
But my question is, were you walking? Were you walking, or were you in your car when this happened?
No, I was playing football in the street.
So this means they stole it. They stole your phone, but you didn't realize it in the beginning. Means you didn't know in the beginning. Okay. Did they steal it from your pocket or from your bag?
From my pocket.
Were they playing football with you?
No. Me and my friends was playing football, and they maybe 2 or 3 times they come with car and go. And there's a boy with them in the car, so I didn't يعني قلت معاهم ولد صغير يعني مستحيل هذا يكونوا خنابة ولا حاجة.
Okay, so you thought they wouldn't steal or do anything.
Yes.
But in the end, they...
After it, yes, he get out from the car and hit the wheel. And he said, this wheel is very bad. And he looked to me like someone want to thief.
Like someone
want to steal from me.
Something.
Yes. I want to run. When I want to run, he catch me. And he take the phone and he go.
I see what happened. Yeah, so we can say this is mugging maybe. But usually when we say mugging في العادة فيه تهديد أكثر. ممكن أنت في حالتك ممكن stealing يمشي أحسن. I don't know. Yeah, but maybe this is a bit of an accident. But do you think has this happened more than once or just once? Only once to you?
Once.
Once, only once. Okay. What about the other problems? Have any of these other problems happened to you? Maybe you missed a plane, or maybe you left your wallet at home. Has these problems happened to you before? No.
No.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Noah? Tell us about some of your everyday problems. Have any of these problems happened to you before in the past?
First, lose my keys and mobile, but not lost for just 4 hours. Found it also like Samiha between books, silent. For a long day, I'm thinking this is stolen from the home. I don't know who's.
You thought it was stolen. Someone stole it from you.
Yes. And because I was in the work in the morning, I forget in the morning in the home. When I'm returned back to the home, not found the phone. I think this is maybe missed in the hospital. Someone take it from the back.
Someone stole it at the hospital.
And
that's what you thought.
Well, because I am working in hospital. And after when I call, no answer, just.
It's just ringing.
Make this is hope for me, because yes, make hope, because not closed, not out of service. So when I'm lost,
and then you started looking for it.
Yes, and found just to study. I found it between books.
Okay, so you've had this problem too. But what other problems have you had?
Yes, oversleep on Friday, because this is just the holiday for me.
Yeah, so I think it's okay. I think when we say Monday mornings, we mean only on a work day, but on a weekend, I think it's fine. It's not a problem. But have you ever overslept on a work day?
Okay.
Have you done this on a work day? For example, you had work and you overslept. Has this happened to you before? No.
No. I'm always coming early.
Good.
And
good. What about
run out of money and time? run out of money and time.
Yeah, I think all of us have had this problem.
I've always said this for my friends and my family. I need day between Saturday and Sunday. I need another day between Monday and Tuesday.
You need an extra day.
Yes, extra day between every day.
Yeah. What about an accident? Have you ever had an accident? A car accident?
No, alhamdulillah, not.
No car
problem not happened with me, and but always forget birthday of my friends. Always.
You always forget someone's birthday.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe not. You don't have a lot of big problems, so that's a good thing, I think.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you can see here we have examples of some, common problems. some of these are simple problems that happen, you know, maybe not every day, but they happen quite a lot.
About you, Doctor.
Sorry?
Tell us about you.
About me. Okay. My problems,
Yes.
I've lost keys before, and you know that I lost them completely. But the good thing was I lost them far away from home. So you know, it doesn't matter. It was far away from home. They were the key, the house keys for the house. And so this happened to me before. It happened once. I've never lost my phone, and I've never missed a plane or a train. I don't use a wallet because when I was in high school, I lost a wallet, and it had 12 dinars. And after that, I promised myself never to use a wallet again. So I only put my money in my pocket. I don't use wallets anymore. I haven't got lost before. I don't think this has happened to me. I've had an accident. I've had a big accident actually, but nothing happened. The car was destroyed, kind of destroyed, but I was wearing the seat belt, so you know nothing really happened. Just a little pain here in the neck and the foot because I always wear the seat belt. So when I always recommend people because the seat belt really saved my life and my father's life. Both of us wear the seat belt because we actually crashed into a wall. So we crashed into a wall, and imagine if this was without a seatbelt, I'm sure I would have died definitely. So the seatbelt is a lifesaver. Yeah, it's very important. So if you know anybody who doesn't wear the seatbelt, you know, yes, it actually worked and it saved my life. So it's a very yeah, it's from experience. I've tried it. It works. So I've had an accident. I think Selmik, but this is old. I think this was in 2013, maybe. Yeah. What else? I think everybody gets stuck in traffic. I don't know about. I mean here in Libya because sorry, Tripoli.
Yes.
We have crazy traffic now. It's becoming worse every day. So I think this is also common. If you go out in Tripoli, it's most likely you will get stuck in traffic at some point. So it's a bit of a problem. So these are some of the common problems. I once overslept when I had an exam. I think it was histology oral exam, and I overslept. And one of my friends woke me up. They told me you have an exam today, and where are you? I told them no, it's not today. They told me your exam is today. So, you know, I woke up very quickly and did my exam. But I did oversleep. I almost missed my oral exam, I remember. So I've done this before, oversleeping. Yeah. Okay, so these are some examples, some problems. I think most of them are small problems. Everybody has these problems. So this is number 2. Here, this is what we did. We talked about our problems. Now, in number 3, we're going to listen to a few problems. But first of all, I want to show you the photos. So here we have Peter and Wendy. This is the first photo. And in the second photo, we have Kira and Hannah. And the last photo, we have Jim and Michelle. So I think Michelle has the same problem as Noha and Samiha. She's probably looking for her phone, I think. Or maybe keys, or she probably lost them. Or maybe he lost them because he's the one who's, yeah, I think it's him. All right, so let's try to guess what the problem is, first of all. So we already can see that Jim has his hand in his jacket. So, but what do you think he lost?
Those keys or mobile?
Keys
or mobile?
Mobile, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe keys, maybe mobile. Okay. And what's going on here in this photo? What's happening? What's the problem? What do you think?
Maybe oversleep.
Oversleep or
who overslept? Is it Hannah or Kira?
Who's Hannah? Who's Kira?
I think Kira is on the left and Hannah is on the right.
I think it's Kira.
Kira overslept. But she looks happy. She doesn't look worried. She's eating her cornflakes.
Yes, she's sleeping.
But she looks sleepy, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like
but
how...
Hannah is very angry.
Yeah, I think Hannah is angry. Do you think maybe Hannah is her...
She said that when I...
boss?
Blame her, maybe?
Maybe she's blaming her?
Looking for...
Yeah, she's telling her, what do you call this? You know, why are you so lazy? Why are you so late? I can't wait for you. Find somewhere else to drive you. Maybe she's, you know, she's giving her some advice. I don't know. Okay, and the first couple here, we have Peter and Wendy.
Stuck in traffic?
They're stuck in traffic. But what else is going on? How do you think Wendy feels? Or accident? Or an accident, maybe?
Maybe accident, yes.
Maybe an accident. And how do you think they feel? How does Wendy, what does her face say? What do you think her facial expression is saying? What do you think?
Both angry?
Angry?
Or boring?
Bored?
Peter's angry, but Wendy...
Yes.
Peter maybe is angry.
Peter angry. Wendy, boring.
Wendy is bored. Okay. What do you think, Rashid, about this couple, Peter and Wendy? What do you think they're feeling now? And what do you think the problem is, anyways? What do you think, Sophia? What's going on?
Maybe they will miss a plane or a train, I think. Maybe the trouble is...
Good point.
That's why Wendy looks very sad. Maybe.
Yes. But I think Peter is angry because I think in the beginning he said to Wendy, he said, you know what, let me drive. You don't know the way to the airport or something. But Wendy said, no, I know how to drive. I know the way. I know how to get there on time.
They get lost.
Yeah. And he said, believe me, I know that you're a very bad driver. She said, no, that's not true. I'm a good driver. He said, okay, you can drive. And then they got stuck in traffic. And now Peter his face, it's like he's saying, I told you so, but he didn't say it. It's all in his face. And she understands it. That's why she looks like this.
I'm sorry, maybe.
She's apologizing.
Yeah, apologize. And slightly afraid, maybe.
Yeah, maybe she's a bit worried. Yeah. All right, anyway, so we're not sure what really happened, but we just made some good guesses, I think. So now we're going to listen. So it says here, listen and match the conversations to the photos and were your ideas correct? So we're going to listen and we're going to find out. And this way we can check our guesses. So let's do this. Let's go to the listening track.
Edition, Pre-Intermediate, by Chris. Bridge University Press, 2012. 1.
Morning, Hannah. Do you want some coffee?
No, thanks, Kira. I haven't got time. I overslept. Again.
Oh, dear. A late night, was it?
Yes, a bit. Look, I have to go. If I'm late again, I'll lose my job.
Don't worry. You'll be okay if you get a taxi.
Yes, good idea.
Have you got the number of a taxi company?
Yes, I have. I'll call them now.
Right. Have a good day.
You too. See you later.
2.
Where are the car keys? I can't find them anywhere.
I don't know, Jim. Where did you put them last?
That's a silly question, isn't it?
What time does the film start?
In about 25 minutes.
Well, if we don't leave soon, we won't get there in time.
Yes, I know. Maybe you can help me look for them.
Are they in your coat pocket?
No, they're not. I've looked.
OK, I'm just trying to help.
I'm sorry. Look, if we don't find them, I'll take you out for dinner instead.
That sounds good.
3.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yes, I know. If we don't get there by 5, we'll miss the plane.
Well, why didn't we leave sooner?
Don't worry. We'll get there. We just have to be patient.
Why have you turned off the sat-nav?
It can't help us when we're stuck in traffic, can it?
What will we do if we're too late?
Well, we'll have to get the next flight. Just relax, all right?
OK, sorry. Oh, I hate going on holiday. Next year, let's just stay at home.
Fine by me.
Okay, so the first conversation, which photo was it? The first conversation, was it A or was it B or was it C? The first conversation. What was it?
B.
It was B. That's correct. It was B. But who was late? Was it Kira or was it Hannah who was late?
Hannah.
Hannah. Yeah, Hannah's the one who's late. She overslept. What was it, the first time she overslept or not the first time?
Not first time.
I think
She lost her job.
Yes, because it's not the first time. That's why she's worried, right? So maybe they told her, if you're going to keep coming late, stay at home. So that's why she's worried. Okay, so conversation number 2. Was it A or was it C, conversation number 2?
C.
Correct, C. And what were they looking for? What was Jim looking for?
Looking
Car
for his
keys.
keys.
His keys. His car keys. Exactly, that's right, yeah. All right, and the first one, what was the problem here? Why were they worried in photo A?
Missed the plane.
Miss
Maybe
plane.
lost their flight.
Yeah, if they
Missed.
don't exactly, if they don't get there before 5 o'clock, they will miss the plane, right?
Stuck in.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're stuck in traffic, so they're
Yeah.
they're worried that they're gonna miss their plane. Sorry. Okay, so this means our guesses were close in part B, so our guesses were good. Now I just want you to tell me these 6 sentences. Just say A, B, or C, depending on the photo. If you think the people in photo A said it, just say photo A and photo B and so on. Or maybe you can just say the name, Peter, Wendy, Jim, Michelle, if you can remember. All right, so if I'm late again, I'll lose my job. Who said this?
Hannah.
Hannah, that's
B.
correct. Yeah, Hannah from photo B, correct. If we don't leave soon, we won't get there in time.
Michelle, C.
Michelle from photo C, maybe. All right, okay. You'll be okay if you get a taxi.
Hannah. Kira said this for Hannah.
Yeah.
Maybe Kira said this from photo B. If we don't get there by 5, we'll miss the plane. Who said this?
Peter A. Peter A, I think.
Peter or Wendy?
Wendy.
Wendy, yes.
Maybe Wendy? Okay. What will we do if we're too late?
Wendy.
Maybe
Also
Wendy?
said
Okay. If we don't find them, I'll take you out for dinner instead.
Jim.
C.
Maybe Jim,
Michelle
photo
said it.
C. Is it Michelle or is it Jim?
Jim to Michelle, I think.
Jim, yes.
Jim to Michelle. Okay, so let's listen one last time to confirm our answers. Let's take a look.
Face2face, second edition, Pre-Intermediate, by Chris Redston and Gilly Cunningham.
Hannah, do you want some coffee?
1.
Morning, Hannah. Do you want some coffee?
No thanks, Kira. I haven't got time. I overslept. Again.
Oh dear. A late night, was it?
Yes, a bit. Look, I have to go. If I'm late again, I'll lose my job.
Don't worry. You'll be okay if you get a taxi.
Yes, good idea.
Have you got the number of a taxi company?
Yes, I have. I'll call them now.
Right. Have a good day.
You too. See you later.
2.
Where are the car keys? I can't find them anywhere.
I don't know, Jim. Where did you put them last?
That's a silly question, isn't it?
What time does the film start?
In about 25 minutes.
Well, if we don't leave soon, we won't get there in time.
Yes, I know. Maybe you can help me look for them.
Are they in your coat pocket?
No, they're not. I've looked.
OK. I'm just trying to help.
I'm sorry. Look, if we don't find them, I'll take you out for dinner instead.
That sounds good.
3.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yes, I know. If we don't get there by 5, we'll miss the plane.
Well, why didn't we leave sooner?
Don't worry. We'll get there. We just have to be patient.
Oh. Why have you turned off the sat-nav?
It can't help us when we're stuck in traffic, can it?
What will we do if we're too late?
Well, we'll have to get the next flight. Just relax, all right?
OK, sorry. Oh, I hate going on holiday. Next year, let's just stay at home.
Fine by me.
Okay. So this means all of the answers are correct. That's great. So now let's talk a little bit about grammar. So we're going to talk about something called the first conditional. The first conditional. I think this is a new topic. I think this is the first time that you'll, because this is not part of the elementary. Okay. So I don't know, does anybody know anything about the first conditional? Maybe Samiha, do you know anything about the first conditional?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think they will talk about something, the reason of the problem. If we do this, the second condition, it will not happen.
Correct. It will not, or it will, sometimes both. If this happens, something else. Yeah. This is the idea. So conditionals are actually a family. We have about 5 types. We have 0 conditionals, first conditional, second, third, and mixed conditional. So you will study them here in pre-intermediate. They won't talk too much about them, just like an introduction. In intermediate, they will talk about them in more details. But I think this is the first time they talk about them because they're not included in elementary. This is a new topic. But let's talk a little bit about them. So whenever we see this, this word, conditional, so any conditional sentence always has 2 parts, okay? And these 2 parts are called clauses. So a clause is like it's like a half or a part. So we say clause. So you can see here, if you notice, we have the if clause, and here we have the main clause. Can you see the 2 halves of the sentence here? We have the if clause and we have the main clause. So the if clause, this is the half of the sentence which contains the word if. Okay, so this is the if clause. And the main clause is the other half. And you can notice that there's always this comma. Can you see this comma here between the 2 halves? I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this? The comma here? Can you see it here? This comma. So this comma is what separates the 2 halves of the conditional sentence. So whenever you have a conditional sentence, there's always two halves. But we don't say half, we say clause, سموفيم clause. So a clause is like a half. This is what I'm trying to say. All right. So it says, let's look at the first example. If I'm late again, comma, I'll lose my job. So I'll lose my job. This is the result of the first situation. Do you get the idea? So if this happens, this is the result. Okay. If we don't leave soon, we won't get there in time. So if this happens, لو الجزئية الأولى صارت الناتج حيصير. فهذه فكرتهم الconditionals يسموا فيهم جمل شرطية يعني. This is the meaning of conditional. جاية من condition شرط يعني. Okay, so this is the idea. Now let's talk a little bit about the grammar of conditionals. So let's look at this example. It says, look at the sentences in part C and answer these questions. So let's move. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, it was silent. Okay, so let me just repeat the part I was saying about the if clause. So the idea is with the if clause, and we have a main clause in يعني لو عندنا اللي هي الجملة الشرطية الconditional, the first conditional أو أي جملة شرطية تانية مش شرط الفirst لكن conditionals كلهم بصفة عامة, there are always two parts. So you have the if clause and you have the main clause. So the if clause, this is, if this happens, if the if clause happens, you will have the result, the main clause. Yeah, this means if this happens, then the second part.
The result maybe happened or not, yes, you mean.
That's the idea, yes. If the first part happens, the result will happen. Do you get the idea? If we don't leave soon, we won't get on time. So if this happens, then the second one will happen. Do you get the idea? Now, the first one, if it happens or not, the probability, this is another topic. هل بتصير أو لا أو لا يعني. لكن لو صارت حيصير الناتج متاعها, هي دي الفكرة. يعني الناتج مرهون أو مربوط بالإف بالشرط. So an if clause هو هذا الشرط. It's a bit like maths. You know, زي في الرياضيات عندك إذا كذا كذا بحينتج كذا كذا. You know, it's like an equation. It's a bit like this. هي دي فكرتهم العامة. Sorry, what did you say, Samiha?
Even even it's happened or not, you mean? An if clause and main clause.
Here اللي هو اللي هل بيصير ولا لا اللي هي في if clause. If I'm late again, we don't know if she's going to be late or not. You know, maybe she'll be late, maybe not. ما نعرفوش يعني. But if she is, she will lose her job. Do you get the idea? يعني لو تحقق الشرط أن هي late again, she will lose her job. حيصير main clause, حيصير الناتج. Do you get the idea?
Okay.
But now we're going to talk a little bit about the grammar and about the meaning here. So we're going to use all the examples that we talked about here in part 3. Can you see them here? Number 1 to 6. So we want to use these examples to answer the questions here. So let's answer these questions. It says, look at the sentences and answer these questions. Let's start with the first one. So do these sentences talk about the present or the future? So when we say, for example, if I'm late again, I'll lose my job. If we don't leave soon, we won't get on time, blah, 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 blah. All of these. Are they present, future? You think future? Okay.
Yes, I think.
That's actually correct. All of them are in the future. You're right. Yeah. Because you can see all of them have will. I'll lose my job. We won't get there in time. You'll be okay. Can you see it? So all of them have will. Can you notice it? So this means it's in the future, correct? All right, question number 2. It says here, does the if clause talk about things that are possible or certain? What do you think?
Possible.
It actually talks about things which are possible. So here, like the example, if I'm late again, it means maybe she will be late. ممكن هي تتأخر وممكن تلحق يعني ممكن توصل في الوقت. صح لا? So it's, you know, it's not certain. It's possible. This is the idea. You get the idea? So it's not certain. It's actually possible. If I'm late again. So maybe she's late, maybe not. If we don't leave soon. So maybe they can, you know, maybe they find the keys and leave on time. ممكن ما يصيرش السيناريو هذا اللي يتخيلوا فيه. So it's possible. All right, now, third question, it says, which verb form is in the if clause? Let's take a look.
Present simple.
Correct. Yes, because if you look at all the examples, here we have verb to be in the present simple. Here we have don't leave, present simple. You get a taxi, present simple. We don't get, present simple. We are, present simple. We don't find, present simple. So all of them are present simple actually. But what about the main clause? What did we use in the main clause? What verb form?
Present perfect. No. No. I won't get there.
So we have I'll lose, won't get, you'll be, we'll miss, will do, I'll take. What's this? What do we call this?
I think future.
Sorry, what is it, Sanma?
I think future.
Correct, but future using what? هو صح future هو. لكن future باستعمال شنو؟ Going to ولا حاجة تانية؟
Will.
Yes, exactly. Future بالwill, using will, right? So لاحظوا كلهم فيهم will plus infinitive, right? If you take a look, خلينا نشوفوهم على السريع. Can you see? I'll lose. So this is will plus lose. We won't get. Won't اللي هي will not get. You'll be, will be. We'll miss. هذا سؤال, what will we do? I'll take. So all of them are the same, right? So in the main clause, we use will plus infinitive. Okay, last question. Is the if clause always first in the sentence or not? What do you think?
Yes.
It's always at first.
It's always in the beginning?
No. If it's a question, I think it's opposite.
Always present in the first if not the question. But the question.
But what about number 3?
Number?
You will be okay if we get a taxi.
Okay. It can be the beginning or at the end.
But can we change the other ones? Can we say, for example, I'll lose my job if I'm late again. We won't get there in time if we don't leave soon. We'll miss the plane if we don't get there by 5. I'll take you out for dinner instead if we don't find them. Can we do it like this? Start from the opposite? Is it the same meaning? لو بدأنا بالمين بدل من الإف. What do you think? خلينا نجاوب الجزء الأول من السؤال. زي ما أنتوا قلتوا no. يعني مش ضروري نبدأ بالإف. But my question, is it the same meaning if we say, for example, here in number 1, can you see example number 1? They started with if, right? So if I'm late again, I'll lose my job. But can we do it in the opposite way? Can we say, I'll lose my job if I'm late again? Can we say it like this? Or no? What do you think, Noah?
I think not. I think no.
What do you think, Selma?
Yes, we can.
Samiha, what do you think?
I think we can. Yes.
Actually, we can. It makes no difference. You can do it in either way. You can start with the if clause or the main clause. يعني تقدروا تقلبوا عادي. So you can say, I'll lose my job if I'm late again. Oh, if I'm late again, I'll lose my job. It's, you know, it's the same. So this is question number 5. It means, you know, you can start in either way. زي ما تبغوا تبدوا عادي. It's the same. All right? So this is our topic for next lesson. We will talk in more detail about the first conditional. Now we just have, you know, just an introduction now. But in our next lesson, we'll talk a little more about this, and we'll also use it to answer question number 6 and question number 7. All right. So, but my advice is, I think you should do some exercises, or at least check it in the workbook. You know, it'll be a little clear. And also take a look at the summary on page 146. If you take a look at the summary here, of course, this will help you, you know, understand some of the basics about the future clause. Sorry, the first conditional. So take a look at this at home, read a little bit about it, and in our next lesson, we'll do some exercises. So that's all for tonight. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you again on our next lesson.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
You're welcome. Good night. Bye-bye.